In this video, we'll show you how to download all files from multiple records from Salesforce using a repeated strip in Titan Web. And the basic premise of this video is that, for example, these four contacts here are linked to this one account, Phoenix Recruiters. And what I want to do is I want to bring each one into a repeated strip. So it's an individual record in a strip itself. And then when I click a button, I should be able to download all their files. For example, Elisa here, she has 2 files. And every other person here has 1. So that's what I want to do. That's just the basic gist of what I'm about to show you. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get an input, which is a lookup, because that's what's going to trigger my contacts. So this first one will be based on accounts. Very, very simple setup. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a strip, and this is really important. What I'd like you to do is bring up the layer list. Make sure when you set this strip that you do like this, okay? And then what you'll see is if you've done it right, the strip section you'll see first, and then obviously the strip itself will be repeated like that. You can also add some tag into this if you want. In fact, let's just do it. I'm going to call this one contact repeated strip. In fact, let's call it CRS, contact repeated strip, like that, just so I can short form it a little bit. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring an input field, which will simply just bring their full name, and then a button which will allow me to download all their files. So we'll call this one download files, and we'll call this one full name. Now what I want to do is run a get. So the first get obviously here is running the account, which is the lookup. So we'll mark this up. Brings all accounts from Salesforce. And then the second one here, it's going to bring contacts. And bring contacts based off accounts. Now here we're going to do user action, and we say, all right, we'll bring up to 10 contacts. You can obviously have as many as you like. Here we're going to do account ID equals the lookup itself, account value. And then in the mapping, this is the important part, that what I do here is simply make sure that the contact ID is being brought back, but into the repeated strip itself. So this will be this right here, the repeated strip value. So here I'm simply going to bring contact ID. That's what I'm going to do. And then I will assign it to run when this is not empty. So simply account value has a value in it, is not empty. If that is true, go ahead and run my Salesforce action, which is going to bring the contacts. So now I will switch on debug mode for you to show you all the variables, how they're coming up. So if I go to preview, type in Phoenix, the account, you can see these are all the contacts, but obviously they're not because I forgot to obviously map the name. Silly me. So let's go and do that. So don't do what I just did there. Make sure you map the full name as well to the full name. So these are the 2 fields that should have been mapped, which is the contact ID and the full name. So fix that mistake. Let's save, let's refresh. And let's do it again. Cool. So now we've got everything we need, and look in the debug mode here. So you can see that each strip starts with its own value. This is 1, this is 2, and then in between is all the data that we've pulled in, basically the name, and this is the variable here, the strip value itself. Now what I want to do is I want to click this button and download all the files, specifically to Alicia, or if I click this one to Tom, this one to Terry, and this one to Patty. So first thing you need to do is you need to create a page variable. And this page variable is simply going to collect all the files hash. So we'll call this one hash values, like that. And then what I want to do is I want to run a get. And the get is going to retrieve all the file hash. So files, and we'll say bring all hash value based off contact ID, which is in the repeated strip itself. So user action, we'll say bring up to 10 files, and the condition is going to be first published location ID equals, And this one is going to be my repeated strip value, like that. That's what it's going to be. This is really, really important. Make sure you don't choose the actual strip value. It needs to be the repeat strip value. That's what needs to be done, because if you miss this step, you're going to screw up the entire thing. And in the mapping here, I'm just simply going to bring the hash value like that. That's all I really have to do. So the first thing first, I click on this and assign my action to return the hash value. So I'm going to show you the hash value itself, and then I'll show you the download process, which is piece of cake. So click save, click preview here, go to look up Phoenix Recruiters, and then we'll click on download files. It's going to run the action. Have a look in the hash value here. And I'm going to zoom this in. Because I have two files there, you can see there are two hash, comma, delimited. So there's one and there's two. And then if I zoom out now, and let's say I go for this one, Tom, which only has one file, you can see if I zoom in, there's only one hash available there. So that is working well and good. Now all I really have to do is make sure that after finish, I then do my user interaction, which is simply download file, and then say use my variable hash values to now download the files. So that is all done, and if I refresh, this should work beautifully. So here we go, click download files, look at that, we're downloading 1 of 2, and then finally 2 of 2, like that. And then if I go to the individual one, so let's say I downloaded 1, you can see it now. We'll go ahead and download that one. And these are the files in its entirety that I'm pulling from Salesforce for you. So that is how you do file extraction from multiple records using a repeated strip. And yeah,